One is be upward dog to downward dog. I'm opening up the spine, opening up the hips. Not spending too much time there, just appreciating it enough to get in and out. And I'm going to do 10 total, 5 each position. Next, I'm going to go to the upward position. I'm going to have my butt up in the air, and I'm going to shift my weight back and forth while simultaneously dropping my heels down to really emphasize the calves. So I got 20 total for this one, or 10 each side. Final one is I'm going to go to a high plank position, running man. Working on warming up the lower extremities. I'm driving knee to the same side elbow, working on not crossing midline and not going past 90. Quick turnover rate, I got 30, and I'm going to try to do that in about 10 seconds if I can. Soft, quiet landing, prime up the core, and get your hips moving. It's a lateral or side plank position. It's all about the hip abductors, glute med, glute min. Long distance running, it's all about those. Sprinting is about the max. The reason for that is when I land, what's preventing my hips, my pelvis from dropping down is the glutes. So when we warm this up, we're priming or prepping it. We want to do it in that same form or that same fashion. So for this one, I'm gonna do a side plank position. I'm gonna stack my elbow under my shoulder, have my hips up. From here, I'm gonna lift that top leg, and I'm taking it and bending it, trying to kick my heel towards my butt. So I'm taking my knee and my quad, actively lengthening, but I'm also prepping up the glutes. And just so you can see what that looks like on the other side, really working that bottom side just like we do with running. And I'm gonna do 10 reps of those on each side. A reverse lunge where I'm gonna try to get 2 things accomplished. One, as I step back, I'm gonna try to open up that front of my hip flexor, while also activating and prepping up my quad. And I'm gonna switch every single time. Notice how I keep my weight centered on that front as long as I can. And then once I get towards that back, I drop it down and then emphasize up, open the hip up. 10 of those total, 5 each side. The final one is just like the running man was for your lower extremities. Our arm swing matches and mirrors the cadence or the speed of our legs. So we're trying to be fast, 30 per 10 seconds. So for this, I'm just gonna shake, work on opening up my hips, open up my spine. Looks goofy. If you feel awkward, you're doing it right. We're gonna do 30 of those and aim for that in about 10 seconds. Topic, we're gonna separate this out. We're gonna make it as lean as possible. Before running, after running. Before running, it's not that old school mindset of holding a stretch or holding the muscle at or near its end range for a period of time. They show that can actually make you weaker and potentially more susceptible to running. So we know which muscles are involved. So we know before exercise, our movements are more dynamic in nature. We're taking the muscles through their range of motion, not spending a significant amount of time at or near that end range like after. But before, we're kind of prepping or priming the muscles. So you're gonna see some exercises that I'm gonna explain what's gonna kind of prepare those muscles to be active throughout running. And then also just to get your heart rate up and warm the tissues up before versus after. That's where the muscles were constantly lengthening, shortening. That's where we're gonna hold typically 20 to 30 seconds for a prolonged period of time at or near end range. So I'm gonna give you the bare minimum.